When listening to a song or examining any creative endeavor, there is always some imprint of the creator's perspective in the creation. This is also true of historians and other scholars' written work. The goal of this essay is to explore this connection, to categorize New Deal scholarship into different musical genres. As a group, we composed original song snippets that represented the genres and divided the scholars into them.
The first group of historians we decided to group with the musical genre were the New Deal fanboys, as well as the genre swing jazz. We decided to make this pairing because when the New Deal was actually being implemented, swing jazz was the popular genre at the time. The two historians we put in this group are Schlesinger and Leuchtenberg.
Moving chronologically through the historic groupings, we considered the New Left the next important group of historians. Punk was the most natural musical pairing for the New Left historians because punk and leftist politics frequently go hand in hand, but also contain the same aggressive tone and societal criticism. This New Left generation was very critical of the shortcomings of the New Deal. I guess you could say they felt the New Deal left a lot to be desired.
Because the New Leftists were such controversial scholars, we saw it fitting to make a grouping made up only of their contemporary critics and those reacting against their radical ideas. Bluegrass was the musical mode that we arrived at, and this is because bluegrass is perhaps the polar opposite of punk musically, and these scholars' work were in direct conflict with New Left scholarship. Auerbach and Skocpol were the two most directly critical of New Left historians, and so they are who we put in this grouping. If the New Deal historiography followed the Hegelian dialectic, the fanboys are the thesis, the New Left is the antithesis, and the next group we'll be discussing is the synthesis. We grouped the historians that had more nuanced understandings of the New Deal together and composed a pop song to go along with their marriage of New Left interpretation and a more sympathetic interpretation that earlier historians had. Pop was the clear genre for this group because pop musicians frequently borrow from other existing genres and musical forms and recombine them into new music. The group was also the largest among all the music genre historical groupings. Although at first glance Cowie and Salvatore's article makes a fairly pro-New Deal argument, they also bring up a broader criticism of the larger American political culture, which is why we decided to group them here. Meg Jacobs and McElvain both had very nuanced views of the New Deal's success and failure, which is why we grouped them there as well.
An increased focus on race and intersectionality is one of the biggest developments in the field of history in recent years. A historian that exemplifies this shift is definitely Connolly. He revisited the New Deal and examined how race and racism interacted with the way New Deal policies were implemented. We chose electronic music as it seems like a clear choice for Connolly, and he represented the newest development in historiography, which is why that decision was made.
Thank you for watching!